Welcome back, everybody, to the Minnesota Twins franchise here on MLB The Show 17. We continue the month of June today, a month where the Twins have not played very good baseball. Just 4-13 to this point, with an overall record now on the season of 25-44. We are fighting for 4th place, basically, with the Chicago White Sox. At least we have Miguel Sano on pace for a very productive season as one of the core pieces of a hopeful Twins turnaround. We've also paid very close attention lately to new starting pitcher Fernando Romero. He had another start here against the White Sox, and he recorded another victory going 6 innings and again allowing 1 run. In very little time, he's become one of the most reliable pitchers in our starting rotation. We're going to sim to the end of June here, and here are the results as we finish 10-18, and Romero wrapped up the month for us with another victory against the Kansas City Royals. This time 5 strikeouts, allowing 2 runs again through 6 innings. So we're just about to the All-Star break now as we get some updates on various prospects playing pretty well. I would like to get a look at some of these guys in the second half of the season, so it should be a pretty fun time even with a team with a rough record as we try to get better for next season. Here is an updated stat look now as Miguel Sano was on pace for 40 home runs with an average north of 300. Matt Belisle is still our most reliable relief pitcher right now with a 1.23 ERA. Now, we're going to get to some games, don't worry, but I wanted to find another pitcher to bring into the rotation. First thing I did, of course, was send Torrey Hunter Jr., who's playing well so far at AAA, down to AA, because I think he'll just be better there long term for the rest of the season at least. Then we called up Daniel Palka, who we had a good look at during last episode. He's now at AAA. But I wanted to find a pitcher that could enter the rotation right now. I also want to look at relief pitching. Trevor Hildenberger is a player that might be called up at some point this year. Jose Barrios will definitely get a chance at some point as well. I debated calling up Barrios now. He's playing a lot better than he was to begin the season, and we're even seeing Alberto Mejia play a bit better as well. But I decided, Hector Santiago has done a great job since going to the bullpen. Let's bring him back to the rotation and see what he can do. Santiago back as a starter and Taylor Rogers down to the bullpen. Still want to shake up some things though in the second half. But Santiago now has the ERA down to 4.14. Way better than it was when he was demoted to being a relief pitcher. So in the first inning, not the first impression I hope to see. His very first pitch is drilled back up the middle for a base hit. Then against Mike Trout, a soft grounder, basically a bunt. And that footwork there is not going to get it done. Trout beats that out very easily. 2 aboard for the Angels. And then Cole Calhoun falling behind, and Santiago gets him to fly to left field. And that is put away by Eddie Rosario. So a couple hits for the Angels, but no runs come across. Now, while the pitching has been an issue for us, so has the offense as of late. June was a really poor month for us all around. So we're trying to get this offense back on track. Here's Byron Buxton, deep left center. And caught by Mike Trout right near the wall. Almost gave us a 1-0 lead right there. Let's go ahead to Brian Dozier, who could be a potential trade option for us soon. He hasn't had the big numbers you'd like to see, batting only .235. Showing some patience here in his first trip, working the count full and working this all the way from 0-2 to a walk to first base. That gives Miguel Sano a chance. First pitch drilled to left field. Trying to wave it fair. And it goes foul. 2 near home runs here in the first inning. Look at the hook. This gets the final moment. It's like there was a sudden gust of wind. So Sano continues, drills one onto right, but right to Cole Calhoun, who reels it in. We have 2 near long balls. Still feeling pretty good about the contact, at least. As we jump into the second now, Hector Santiago gets the strikeout of Maldonado to end the second inning. I wanted to see that success he had in the bullpen go back into the starting rotation. Not a bad start. But now Jorge Polanco, who could use a turnaround at the plate, not hitting so well over his last 8 games. He drives one on to center, but Mike Trout is right there to catch the line drive. We are drilling Tyler Skaggs so far, but they're just not going to the right spots. On to the third against Mike Trout. Looking at the cutter, full count, swinging at the circle change. Trout strikes out, and that ends the 3rd inning. 3 hits for the Angels through 3. And Santiago settling in a bit. Let's head back to the offense. Bottom 3, Danny Santana, meanwhile, is hitting pretty well over his last 5. He and Rosario have been turning things on as of late, and he goes down the line for our first hit of the game. As this just stays fair and he gets the stand-up double, and he's actually done this quite a bit this season. He is 2nd on the team with 16 doubles behind Byron Buxton. We gave the start today to Chris Jimenez, who drives one up the middle. And Santana rounds 3rd, Trout going home, but he's too late. An RBI single puts the Twins aboard 1-0. So this gave a little lead to Santiago, whose energy depleted very quickly in this game. In just the 4th, he's almost out of gas. He began with full energy. Full count here, and he loses control as he ends up walking, putting 2 aboard. 2 down for Andrelton Simmons, who has this stopped by Sano, and a strong throw from his back. Sano's glove has really been impressive this year. He's made a number of impressive plays at third base beyond the routine ones you expect him to make. Let's watch this again at full speed, showing the range here, full extension. And the quick throw, still had time to spare. Let's head to the 5th now. Santiago trying to stick it out, 65 pitches, and this is a single on to right. Just with his energy where it was, we couldn't keep him in the game. It was a really weird situation. I'm not sure if pitch selection played a part in this, but he only lasted 4 innings, allowing 1 run, but still a runner on base. As here's a base hit to left field as Ryan Presley, one of our more reliable relievers, enters the game. But now 2 aboard, and a drive down the line. That's extra bases potentially for Cameron Maybin as a run comes around. Ends up being an RBI single, and still 2 aboard for the Angels. Albert Pujols then grounding it past Polanco and into the outfield. Another run scores, and the Angels get runners at the corners. They might not be done, but a ground ball onto Polanco. They can go 6-4-3 and thankfully end the 5th inning. So Santiago ends up getting credit for allowing 2 runs in this game. As we go bottom 5, Jorge Polanco looks at an inside fastball, and with a full count, takes the cutter on the outside. Polanco now much further down in the order as we go back to the top. Byron Buxton grounding it to first, and Pujols laying out. Age is not a problem on this play as he retires Buxton. Let's head on to the 6th inning. Here is CJ Cron waving at the slider as Presley gets the strikeout. And then with 2 down, fastball there on the inside. Maldonado looks at it. And with a 2-strike count, he looks at another one and strikes out again. Still 2-1 Angels as Joe Mauer leads off the 6th. And he rips one to right, and that is gone. Skaggs was due to allow one at some point. This one stays fair, and Mauer sends a deep shot out at target field. This was Mauer's 10th home run, and he's had a bounce-back offensive season. 411 feet, on pace for a pretty good year. Let's take a second look. First pitch, Mauer normally a lot more patient at the plate, but that was not one you could just let go by. Tie game now for Minnesota. Let's see if Dozier can change that as he pulls one to third. Great leaping grab. We kept hitting the ball hard, but only had 2 runs. Michael Tonkin now enters the game as Pujols up again after an RBI single as last time. And he watches Tonkin lose some of his control here as that misses wildly, putting 2 aboard, and then Calhoun gets jammed, and this is lifted to shallow left and caught by Polanco. A very low-scoring affair here in target field. Bottom 7, Polanco now playing from the left side as he puts this in left center, but the range of Mike Trout. makes that another well hit out for Minnesota. With 2 down, Santana turns on 1, and Cole Calhoun lays out and takes away another potential hit. We just weren't getting too many breaks here. 3 hits through 7 innings. You'd think our offense was playing horrible. That wasn't the case. On to the 8th inning. Tonkin still in as CJ Cron sends one deep to right. Kepler watches it just bounce off the wood paneling there as Cron is in with a stand-up double. An infield single then made it runners at the corners, nobody down, but a line drive to Dozier. He gloves that, runners have to stay. Next up, pinch hitter Carlos Perez as Tonkin finds the corner with the slider. And with a full count, sharp ground ball to Polanco, and a quick double play to keep a run from scoring. Phenomenal defense by both teams in this game. Bottom 8. Buxton gets a single onto right field. Now some speed aboard for Minnesota. With Mauer at the plate, Buxton takes off, but Mauer pops one up just behind second base. Buxton has to retreat. 2 down for Minnesota. Brian Dozier with a 1-2 count as Buxton takes off, and he is thrown out. Buxton not as successful stealing this year as you would hope. In the 9th, the Twins turn things over to Matt Belisle. 1-0 count here to Maben, and he pulls one to deep left. It's hooking, and it's gone! A solo homer for Cameron Maben as he pulls it from the other side of the plate. And Belisle gives up the go-ahead score. Belisle entered with the best ERA on the entire team. But now in line for the loss if the Twins could not overcome this. Bottom of the 9th inning, Brian Dozier back up. And the Angels turn things over to Cam Bedrosian. 3.79 ERA on the season. Could the Twins get something going? Dozier back up, 2-strike count as he pulls one onto short. It was a great pitch to hit left up, but the play from Simmons records the first out. Then Miguel Sano, big swing on the slider, he swings through it. 1-1. Another ball grounded onto Simmons. Easy play, especially for a fielder of his caliber. On to Byung-ho Park, our final chance. 1-2. Takes the fastball down to even the count. And then swings and misses at the slider as the Angels record the victory. This one was really disappointing because we crushed the baseball pretty much all game long. Only had a handful of hits to show for it and 2 runs. We even had pretty good pitching for the most part. Belisle does give the loss, allowing the solo homer. Angels had 11 hits. I can't believe we only had 4 in this game. So the Angels won this series, but in the finale, we did take it from them, getting 4 home runs this time around. And Fernando Romero pitched this game, getting the victory. This time, however, no strikeouts and pitching 5 1/3 innings. Still his 4th victory so far as a rookie. Next, we're going to go into a game against the Baltimore Orioles, our final series before the All-Star break. We haven't spent much time with Ervin Santana as of late. And he's kind of been up and down this year. Was on a hot streak for a little while and then is cooling back off. And he's a potential trade option for us. Currently our ace, but maybe we could get something for him. Wanted to see him here against the Orioles as they got going against him pretty quickly with a couple sharp singles and getting runners at the corners with nobody down. Manny Machado then grounding onto second will at least turn 2, and they do get a run in the process. So a 1-0 hole as we jump into the 2nd, and Santana getting a big swing and miss here from Chris Davis. And the 1-2 is swung on and missed as he reaches up for the fastball. Santana not getting a lot of those this year. He came in with 5.8 K per 9 as Jonathan Scope then looks at a fastball. Seth Smith with 2 down. Santana finding the corner, having a really strong inning. Smith doesn't like it, and he likes this one even less as he waves at the changeup and Santana strikes out the side. Now I wanted to go through this game pretty quickly here, and we see Miguel Sano send another home run out, a 2-run shot this time. So let's return to the game in the 5th inning. 66 pitches to this point for Santana as this goes up the middle, but it's stopped. On to first and not in time. Scope is just able to beat it out, and then Wellington Castillo lines one to right field. Scope advances from first to third on the play, so Santana getting into some trouble. That brings up Ryan Flaherty, who bloops one into shallow left, and Scope scores to tie the game at 2. Still only one down for Santana, as Jones fouls off the changeup, falls behind 0-2, and then pulls one high and hard to left field and puts a big 3-run homer on the board for the Baltimore Orioles. 5 runs allowed now for Santana, a start that showed some promise early. Now gone. We seem to have a really tough time just getting through this 5th inning with majority of our starting pitching. 6-2 Baltimore as the Twins try to get some of that back. Here's Byron Buxton on to center as this falls in for a nice base hit. Needs some more to go with it though as Buxton takes off and Santana lines to center. Buxton rounds second and Jones overruns the play. Byron Buxton first to home in a blink of an eye. That is where his speed is so valuable. Let's watch this again. Already taking off, a great piece of hitting here from Danny Santana, and then Jones rushing the play a bit. Buxton makes this a 6-3 game for Minnesota. Next up we have Miguel Sano. 2-2 count, and a ball right down the middle that he slams back up the middle for another base hit. 2 aboard, and that takes us to Joe Mauer. Now, with a 2-0 count, we decide to get aggressive again. Double steal! Line drive from Mauer, but right to the left fielder. And they can easily double up the play. It looked like we had something going there, and then another unlucky line drive. So we ended up just simming the rest of this thing, and Baltimore poured on the runs. They got a couple more home runs, and our relief pitching did not handle themselves very well. Justin Haley had a very tough outing, and the Orioles take this game from us by a score of 10-3. It took them some time to get the offense going, but once that 5th inning came around, their offense was red hot. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, Santiago couldn't finish the 5th today. Santana has trouble here. That's Romero's worst inning. It's a problem right now. We got to eliminate the 5th inning. Now, the Angels, who we had just played, offered us a trade after this game. They offered us for Brian Dozier, Andrelton Simmons, and CJ Cron. Now, Simmons, 27 years old, a couple years younger than Dozier. However, already under contract for 3 years, and his main calling card is that he's an excellent fielder, top-tier shortstop. CJ Cron, good power, not a bad hitter at all, but in the final year of his contract. This was an easy choice. No. This does nothing to help our pitching rotation, and it would just cost us even more money to have Andrelton Simmons under contract. Plus, CJ Cron would be a free agent after a couple more months anyway. This would not be a good move for us. If we're going to trade Brian Dozier, it is going to be for pitching help. So one more game until the All-Star break. We have some late game drama. 4-4 ball game as we join things with a runner at second. Here's Danny Santana sharply to first base, but the play is kept in front of the first baseman as they only allow the runner to advance to third. Byron Buxton trying to win the game as he swings through a 94-mile-per-hour sinker and strikes out on 3 pitches. Overpowered on that one. Into extra innings now, Ryan Pressly on the mound as Manny Machado pops one up for Dozier. No problem there, let's go bottom 10 as Max Kepler is swinging a much better bat as of late. Average in the mid-250s, and he fouls off the fastball to again fall behind. And strikes out on the splitter, good location for it. So we're not done. 11 innings now. As this is drilled to left, but thankfully foul. That had some serious velocity behind it. But then a harmless ground ball to Brian Dozier, no problem. Ryan Pressly taking care of business. And then a jammed ground ball again for Dozier, keeping him pretty busy. And that ends the top of the 11th. Byung-ho Park leads off the 11th, 1 for 4 on the day. Falls behind 0-2, and then a jam shot to right field. That's one way to get it done. Park reaches, and we pinch run Eddie Rosario. Joe Mauer the next at bat. The 1-1 pulled through and into center field. Rosario rounding second. Jones throwing and coming up too late. Rosario legs it out. Runners at the corners, nobody out. And a line drive from Eduardo Escobar as the Minnesota Twins walk off with the win. 3 straight singles. And we only had 4 hits in that full game against the Angels. I still can't believe that. Good job, though, here in the 12th inning. Didn't need Buxton, Dozier, or Sano to get this done. Great game, though, for Eduardo Escobar. 4 for 5. A home run and the game-winning RBI. That takes us to the All-Star break. And I wanted to know if you guys wanted to see anything from the All-Star period, whether it was the Home Run Derby or the All-Star game itself. I'm not sure if we have anybody in the Derby, like Sano would be great in there, but there wasn't like a notification or anything telling me he would be competing. And we'll go through All-Star voting here in a moment. But here are the numbers for us so far, and maybe Eduardo Escobar is deserving of some more playing time along with Chris Jimenez. And we're definitely going to make some moves in the second half of this season. Sending up players, sending down players, maybe some trades. I definitely expect some trading to go on. We have some players doing a phenomenal job at AA, and maybe some of them will get a chance to play at the major league level. But more likely they'll play a little bit at Rochester for a bit. But if there are some players here in the minor leagues that you want to see play at the big leagues, let me know. Maybe even Daniel Palka gets a chance, because so far he's doing his job at Rochester, although a limited sample size. But definitely want to see some Jose Barrios at some point. Probably Nick Tepish as well. Probably a few of these pitchers down at AAA. Trevor Hildenberger, I talked about him earlier. He's the closer down there. Torrey Hunter Jr. already has 3 home runs in 5 games down at AA. And we also seeing that Nick Gordon is having his average climb back up, now at 265. Pitching down there has been excellent this entire year. They're going to get some chances at AAA because we have to get an idea of what this rotation and bullpen could look like for next season. I expect some good turnaround there. So we are halfway through Season 1 now, and I expect the second half to go by pretty quickly. You saw how quick we zoomed past June and the opening stage of July, so obviously now working at a much faster pace. But I want to focus on players that can help us out next season and that will be a part of this rebuild that we are putting together. These are the All-Star votes, and we didn't fare too well on a lot of these. I mean, Brian Dozier is not even in the top 5. Miguel Sano was kind of our best, but even he was only 5th place in the third base voting here in the American League. Not many others are even showing up here in like the top 10. Byron Buxton is way down there, 359,000 votes. So let me know if you want to see anything regarding the All-Star game or the Home Run Derby. I would love to see if Sano is in the Derby. I mean, he should. I want him to be there. So we're halfway through. Mid-July, trade deadline coming up on the 31st. And I expect that we'll see some shake-up between now and then. Thank you all for watching this episode of the Minnesota Twins franchise. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your feedback down below. What players would you like to see on the team moving forward? I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.